Okay, you'll be there. You'll say the blessings from there. All right, Philip, as soon as you give me the go-ahead. Hag Purim Sameach. A year ago was really the last time we've had hundreds and hundreds of people in here. And it's been a year. There's been ups and downs. And we know many, many of you are watching this evening. Hundreds of you are not here, but you're watching us. And I'm very optimistic that by next Purim and way before then, we'll be all together again in this sanctuary. But tonight we have a lot to celebrate. We celebrate Purim. It's a festive holiday throughout the Jewish world. And we celebrate the fact that here at Beth Yeshurun in this Megillah reading, we have almost 20 of our young people that have read Megillah, that have recorded their verses, and you'll have a chance to see them tonight. And so tonight, along with Jews across the globe, we celebrate the holiday of Purim. And we do have a lot to be thankful for. And so now I'm going to turn the floor over to the cantor, but before I do, I also want to thank Cantor Finkelstein. I want to thank Cheryl Eskowitz. I want to thank Cantor Diane Dorf. I want to thank Ariel Rosen. I want to thank Sarah Kaiser for all of your work in organizing these readers, making sure they're prepared. And I want to thank you, the parents that are watching, and most importantly, our young people, for taking time to read, to learn Megillat Esther, as the story continues, L'dor v'dor, from generation to generation. So now to begin our Purim Sameach, to begin the holiday of Purim, I turn the floor over to our cantor to recite the blessings from Megillat Esther.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mikra Megillah.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim la'avoteinu בימים ההם בזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who's kept us in life, sustained us, and allowed us to reach the holiday of Purim. And now for our first reading, chapter 1, verses 1 through 4, Sarah Rosen.
Vayehi bimei Ashverosh, hu Ashverosh hamolech mehod uvad gush sheva v'esrimu mea medinat bishna shalosh lemocho asa mishte locho sara v'avodal chel paras umodai hapartem v'sarei hamedinot panav.
Thank you, Sarah. And now translation. King Ahasuerus, who reigned over 127 provinces from India to Ethiopia, gave a banquet to the nobles and officers of the army and displayed his royal treasures. The banquet lasted 108 days. It was followed by a 7-day banquet for all the people in Shushan, the capital. Queen Vashti also gave a banquet for the women. On the 7th day, when the king's heart was merry with wine, he commanded Queen Vashti to appear in order to show off her beauty. But Queen Vashti refused to go before the court. Enraged, the king asked his wise men, what should be done with her? Let the king assign her royal position to a better woman. And one advised. And the king acted accordingly. He also sent letters to every province directing that every man should be lord in his own house. We now continue the story with chapter 2, first Sammy Berzin, and then Sam Mellon.
אחר הדברים האלה כשוך חמת המלך אחשוורוש זכר את ושתי ואת אשר עשתה ואת אשר נגזר
ואהב המלך את אסתר מכל הנשים, ותיסחן בחסד לפניו מכל הבתולות, ויעשם כתר מלכות בראשה, וימליכיה תחת ושתי.
Okay, we're reading in chapter 2. There was a Jew in Shushan by the name of Mordecai. He had adopted his orphan cousin Esther and brought her up as his own daughter. Beautiful and lovely, she was taken into the royal house where she became a favorite. She said nothing about her people or her descent, for Mordecai had told her not to reveal it. The king loved Esther more than all his wives, and he made her queen instead of Vashti.
And now we continue, thank you, Rabbi Morgan. Now we continue the story, chapter 3, verses 1 through 6, by Danielle and Isaac Harris, and then Jaden Eisenberg, verse 9, chapter 3. And get your groggers ready, chapter 3.
אחר הדברים האלה גידל המלך אחשוורוש את המן בן המלך הגגי וינשאו, וישם את כיסו מעל כל השרים אשר איתו, וכל עבדי המלך אשר בשער המלך קוראים ומשתחווים להמן, כי כן ציווה לו המלך. ומרדכי לא יכרע ולא ישתחווה, ויאמרו עבדי המלך אשר בשער המלך למרדכי, מדוע אתה עובר את מצוות המלך?
ויהי כי אמרם אליו יום ויום, ולא שמע עליהם, ויגידו להמן, לראות האם עמדו דברי מרדכי, כי הגידו להם אשר הוא יהודי. וירא המן כי אין מרדכי קורע ומשתחווה לו, וימלא המן חמה, ויבז בעיניו לשלוח יד במרדכי לבדו, כי הגידו לו את עם מרדכי. ויבקש המן להשמיד את כל היהודים אשר בכל מלכות אחשוורוש על מרדכי.
אם על המלך טוב ייכתב לעבדה, ו10,000 כיכר כסף, אשכול על ידי עושה המלאכה, להביא אל כנזי המלך.
After these events, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman and advanced him above all his officers. All bowed low before Haman. But Mordecai would not bow to him. This infuriated Haman so much that he decided to destroy all the Jews throughout the empire of Ahasuerus. He said to the king, "There is a certain people dispersed in every province of your kingdom whose laws are different from those of other people, and they do not obey the king's laws. The king should not tolerate them in the land if it please the king, let it be decreed that they be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver into the royal treasury. Nice. Keep your money, the king said to Haman. And do what you like with the people. Then instructions were sent to all the king's provinces to massacre and destroy all the Jews, young and old, women and children, in one day, the 13th day of the month of Adar. The king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city of Shushan was perplexed.
Chag Purim, Chag Gadol hu Layhudim, Masechot, Vatshanim, Mirot, Rikudim, Havana Risha, Rash, 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 Havana Risha, Rash, 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 Havana Risha, Rash, 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 Barashanim, Purim Day, holiday of fun and play. Sing your song loud and long, mask and dance today. Turn the Gregor round and round, let it play of joyful sound. Pass the hum and tash and round, turn your Gregor round.
And now we continue the story, chapter 4, verses 1 through 2. Lauren Michaelman.
ומרדכי ידע את כל אשר עשה, ויקרא מרדכי את בגדיו, וילבש שק, ויפר, ויצא בתוך העיר, ויזעק זעקה גדולה ומרה, ויבוא לפני שער המלך, כי אין לבוא אל שער המלך בלבוש שק.
Beautiful reading. And now continue in the English, chapter 4. When the great Mordecai learned all that had been done, he tore his garments, put on sackcloth, and went about the city crying bitterly. There was great mourning among the Jews in every province, wherever the king's command was heard. Esther ordered Hathach to go and find out from Mordecai what was the meaning of it all. Mordecai told him all that had happened and gave him a copy of the decree, which he was to show to Esther, charging her to intercede with the king on behalf of the people. When Hathach told Esther what Mordecai had said, she gave him this message for Mordecai. Everybody knows that there's one penalty for any person who goes to the king without being summoned. It is death. And I have not been summoned for 30 days. Whereupon Mordecai replied, do not imagine you will escape inside the royal palace any more than rest of the Jews on the outside. If you keep silent at a time like this, relief and deliverance will arise from another quarter, but you will perish, you and your father's house. Who knows whether it was not for a time like this you have been raised to royalty? Then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai, go, gather all the Jews of Shushan and fast on my behalf. Eat and drink nothing for 3 days and 3 nights. I and my maids will fast likewise. Then I will go to the king, though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish. Mordecai did as Esther ordered him. And now we move on to chapter 5, Carly Katz, David Katz, and Annie Katz.
Vayehi bayom hashlishi vatyobash Esther malchut vata'amod b'chatzar beit hamelech ha'penimit nochach beit hamelech והמלך יושב על כיסא מלכותו בבית המלכות נוכח פתח הבית ויהי חירות המלך את אסתר המלכה עומדת בחצר נשא חן Vayoshet HaMelech LeEsther Et Sharvit HaZahav Asher Beyado Vatikrav Esther Vatiga Berosh HaSharvit
Vayomer la hamelech mala Esther hamalka Uma bakashtech Archatzi hamalchut Vaina Vayomer la hamelech mala Esther hamalka Uma bakashtech Archatzi hamalchut Vainaten lach Vatomer Esther Imal hamelech tov Yavo hamelech vehaman Ayo el hamisteh asher asiti lo
Vayomer HaMelech Maharu et Haman La'asor et Devar Esther Vayavo HaMelech veHaman El HaMishteh Asher Asta Esther Vayomer HaMelech LeEsther B'mishteh Hayayin Mashe elatech ve'inaten lach Uma bakashatech Ad chatzi hamalchut veteas.
Okay. So now we're reading on chapter 5. On the third day, Esther stood in the inner court of the royal palace. When the king saw Esther standing in the court, he held out the golden scepter to her. Esther approached and touched it. "What is your wish, Queen Esther?" the king asked. "What is your request? It shall be given you were it half my kingdom." Esther said, "If it please the king, let the king and Haman come today to a banquet which I have prepared for the king." "Bring Haman at once," the king ordered, "that we may do as Esther desires." So the king and Haman came to the banquet and that Esther had prepared. As they were drinking wine, the king said to Esther, "What is your petition? It shall be granted. Were it half my kingdom, it shall be fulfilled." But Esther replied, "My petition and my request, well, if it please the king, let the king and Haman come tomorrow to the banquet which I will prepare for them. Tomorrow I will do as the king has said." That day, Haman was joyful and glad of heart. He told his friends and his wife Zeresh, "Queen Esther invited no one except myself, along with the king, to the banquet she had prepared. And she has invited me again tomorrow, together with the king. But all this does me no good, as long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate." Then his wife and all his friends said to him, "Let a gallows be made, and in the morning tell the king to have Mordecai hanged upon it, and then go merrily with the king to the banquet." This pleased Haman, and he had the gallows made.
Oh, once there was a wicked, wicked man, and Haman was his name, sir. He would have murdered all the Jews, though they were not to blame, sir. Oh, today will merry, merry be. Oh, today will merry, merry be. Oh, today will merry, merry be. And Nosh some Hamantashen, and Esther was the lovely queen of King Achashverosh. When Haman said he'd kill us all, oh my, how it did scare us. Oh, today will merry, merry be. Oh, today will merry, merry be. Oh, today will merry, merry be. And Nosh some Hamantashen. But Mordecai, her cousin bold, said, "What a dreadful chutzpah. for being such an awful guy. This Haman, we should boo, sir. Oh, today will merry, merry be. Oh, today will merry, merry be. Oh, today will merry, merry be. And nosh some hom and tashen. When Esther speaking to the king of Haman's plot made mention, ha, he said, oh no he won't, I'll spoil his bad intention. Oh, today will merry, merry be. Oh, today will merry, merry be. Oh, today will merry, merry be. And nosh some hum and tashen. The guest of honor he shall be, this clever Mr. Smarty. And high above he shall swing at a little hanging party. Oh, today will merry, merry be. Oh, today will merry, merry be. Oh, today will merry, merry be. And nosh some hum and tashen. Of all his cruel and unkind ways, this little joke did cure him. And don't forget we owe him thanks for this jolly feast of Purim. Oh, today will merry, merry be. Oh, today will merry, merry be. Oh, today will merry, merry be. And nosh some hum and tashen.
So you ready for chapter 6?
I'm ready for chapter
You sure? You ready? You guys ready for chapter 6?
Absolutely. Give us
All
chapter
right,
6.
let's go. We got some great readers. Sidney Abramson, Liam Salmon, Asher Salmon, Ezra Salmon, and Nava Litvak. Take us away, chapter 6.
Balayla hahu nadida shnat hamelech vayomer lehavi et sefer hazikranot divrei hamim vayu nikranim divrei hamelech.
Vayomer hamelech mi Beth Hatzer v'Haman v'lachatzar Beit hamelech hahitzona lemor lamelech litzlot et Mordechai al ha'et asher kehin lo vayomeru nared hamelech elai Hine Haman Hamed Behatzer Vayomer Hamelech Yavo
Yavo Haman Vayomer Hamelech Mela'asot Be'ish Asher Hamelech Hafetz Bikaro Vayomer Haman lemichapat Hamelech la'asot yikar yoter mimenu vayomer Haman el Hamelech asher Hamelech hafetz bikaro.
Yaviu levush malchut asher lavash bo hamelech besus asher rachav alav hamelech b'asher nitan keter malchut berasho menatun halevush v'asus al yad ish misarei hamelech apart mim mihilbishu et haish Asher Hamelech hafetz bikaro, v'hir kiruhu al hasus, v'rchov ha'ir, mikru lefanav, kacha yaseh leish. Asher Hamelech hafetz bikaro.
Vayomer Hamelech leHaman. Maher kach et halevush ve'et hasus ka'asher dibarta va'asechein lemordochai ha'yehudi hayoshev b'sha'ar hamelech al tapel davar mikol asher dibarta. Vayikach Haman et halevush ve'et hasus, vayalbesh et Mordechai, vayarkivehu birchov ha'ir, vayikra lefanav, kacha ya'aseh la'ish, asher hamelech hafetz bekaro.
All right, we're in chapter 6. On that night, the king could not sleep, so he had the book of records brought and read in his presence. It was found that Mordecai saved the king's life. The king asked, "What honor, what dignity has been bestowed on Mordecai for this?" "Nothing has been done for him," the king's attendants replied. The king asked, "Who is in the court?" Haman had just entered the outer court to speak to the king about hanging Mordecai. So the king's attendant said, "Haman is standing in the court." And the king said, "Let him come in." Haman came in, and the king asked him what should be done to the man whom the king delights to honor. Haman said to himself, "Whom would the king delight to honor more than me?" So he said to the king, "For the man whom the king delights to honor, let a royal robe be brought, which the king has worn, and let a horse on which the king has ridden, with a royal crown upon his head. Let the robe and the horse be entrusted to one of the king's noblest officials. He shall see that the man whom the king delights to honor is arrayed and led on horseback through the streets of the city, proclaiming, 'This is done for the man whom the king delights to honor.'" Wow. The king said to Haman, "Make haste, take the robe and the horse as you have said, and do all of this to Mordecai the Jew. Leave out nothing of what you have spoken." So Haman took the robe and the horse and arrayed Mordecai and led him on horseback through the streets of the city, proclaiming, "This is done for the man who the king delights to honor." Then Haman hurried home lamenting and told his wife Zeresh and all his friends everything that had befallen him. They said to him, "If Mordecai, before whom you have begun to fall, is of the Jewish people, you will never defeat him, but you will keep falling before him." Just as they were talking, the king's attendants arrived and hurried Haman to the banquet that Esther had prepared.
Thank you. Thank you, Cowgirl Fort. And now we are ready, as you said, to move into chapter 7, my favorite chapter, because you'll see what's going to happen. Amelia Goldman, chapter 7, verses 1 through 5.
Vayavo hamelech veHaman lishkol Esther hamalka. Vayomer hamelech leEsther gam bayom hasheni v'mishteh hayayin mashe'elatech Esther hamalka v'tinaten lach uma bakashatech ad hadzi hamalhu v'te'as v'ta'an Esther hamalka v'tomar im matzati hem ve'eneha hamelech ve'imo hamelech tov tinaten li nafshi v'she'elati ve'amin ve'vakashati ki nimkarnu ani ve'amin lehashmid leharogu labed ve'ilu le'avadim belishpahot nimkarnu heherashikien hatzahar Shoveh benezek hamelech. Vayomer hamelech Ahashverosh. Vayomer le'Esther hamelkah. Mihuzeh ve'ezehu. Asher mala'o libo la'asot ken.
Thank you. Beautiful reading. And so now let's read the English of chapter 7. So the king and Haman came to feast with Queen Esther. And on the second day of the banquet, the king again asked Esther, "What is your petition, Queen Esther? It shall be granted to you. What is your request? Were it half my kingdom, it shall be fulfilled." Queen Esther replied, "If I have found favor in your sight, O king, and if it pleases the king, let my life be given me. That is my petition. Grant me my people, that it is my request. I and my people are to be destroyed, to be slain, to be annihilated." King Ahasuerus asked Esther, "Who is it? Where is this man who has dared to do this?" Esther replied, "A foe, an enemy, this wicked Haman." Boo! Well, that coward Haman trembled before the king and the queen. The king rose in a fury from the feast and went into his palace garden. Haman came forward to beg Queen Esther for his life, for he saw that the king had determined evil against him. When the king came back from the palace garden, Haman had fallen on the couch where Esther sat. "Will he even violate the queen in my presence, in my own house?" said the king. One of the royal attendants, Harbona, said, "At Haman's house, a gallows is standing, which he prepared for Mordecai, who saved the king's life. Hang him on that," the king ordered. So they hanged Haman on the gallows, which he had prepared for Mordecai. Ani Purim.
Ani Purim, sameach umvadeach. Halo rak pa'am bashana, avo lehitpareach. La 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 la. My name is Purim, and I come great fun and joy bringing. Just once a year I visit you to cheer you with my singing. La 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 la. Oh, Mr. Purim, tell us why we see you only yearly. We'd love to see you come each week, because we love you dearly. La 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 la.
And now, to begin chapter 8, for the first time ever, he's never chanted Hebrew before. This is a big moment in his life. Let's turn it over now to Meir Finkelstein.
What am I going to do?
You're going to read verses 1 through 2, chapter 8. Good luck.
But I don't know any Hebrew. You have
Well,
it transliterated for me?
we have faith in you. We have faith in you.
I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
Bayom ha'u natan hamelech Achashverosh le'Esther hamalka et Beit Haman.
Boo!
צורר היהודים ומרדכי בא לפני המלך כי גידה אסתר מהו לה ויסר המלך את הבתו אשר העביר מהמן ויתנה למרדכי ותשם אסתר את מרדכי על בית המן ותוסף אסתר, ותדבר לפני המלך, ותיפול לפני רגליו, ותפק, ותתחנן לו להעביר את רעת המן האגגי, ואת מחשבתו אשר חשב על היהודים. ומרדכי יצא לי מלפני המלך, בלבוש מלכות, תכלת וחור, ותרת זהב גדולה, ותחריק בוץ וארגמן, והעיר שושן צהלה ושמחה, ליהודים הייתה אורה ושמחה וששון ויקר, ובכל מדינה ומדינה ובכל עיר ועיר, מקום אשר דבר המלך ודעתו מגיע, שמחה וששון ליהודים, משתה ביום טוב, רבים מעמי הארץ מתייהדים, כי נפל פחד היהודים עליהם.
Not bad for not knowing any Hebrew, huh? All right. Well, in case you didn't catch the Hebrew, here's the English translation, more or less. Then Esther spoke again to the king. She fell at his feet and begged him with tears to avert the evil design of Haman against the Jews. She said, if it please the king, let an order be written to revoke the letters sent out by Haman, in which he commanded the destruction of the Jews throughout the king's empire. How can I bear to witness the calamity that befalls my people? How can I endure the destruction of my kindred? Thereupon King Ahasuerus said to Esther and Mordecai, write as you please about the Jews. Write it in the name of the king and seal it with the signet of the king. The king's secretaries were summoned, and an edict was written to the governors and officials of the provinces, from India to Ethiopia, to every province in its own script, and to every people in its own language, and also to the Jews in their script. I think that's Hebrew? Probably Hebrew, yeah. Anyway, and their language. The writing was in the name of King Ahasuerus and sealed with the king's signet ring. Letters were sent by mounted couriers riding on swift horses. By these the king gave the Jews permission to gather and defend their lives on the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar. The couriers rode out in haste, and the decree was issued in Shushan. The Jews had light and joy and gladness and honor in every province and in every city. Wherever the king's edict arrived, there was a gladness and joy among the Jews. Indeed, many non-Jews became Jews. Mordecai sent dispatches giving to the Jews in every city the king's permission to defend their lives and destroy any armed forces that might attack them. On the 13th day of Adar, the Jews triumphed over their adversaries. In Shushan, they fought for their lives on the 13th and the 14th, resting on the 15th, and making that a day of feasting and rejoicing and sending gifts one to another.
Thank you, Rabbi Morgan, or Cowboy Morgan, I should say. And now let's go on to chapter 9. First, we have Zoe Brunis on video, and then Cantor Finkelstein again. We'll try the Hebrew.
Second shot. ביום 13 לחודש אדר ונוח, ב14 בו ועשה אותו יום משתה ושמחה, והיהודים אשר בשושן נקהלו ב13 יום, ב14 בו ונוח, ב15 בו ועשה אותו יום משתה ושמחה. על כן היהודים הפרזים היושבים בערי הפרזות עושים את יום 14 לחודש אדר, שמחה ומשתה ויום טוב, ומשלוח מנות איש לרעהו.
Mordecai charged all the Jews to keep both the 14th and the 15th of the month of Adar every year as days of feasting and rejoicing. These days are called Purim, after Pur, lot, for Haman had cast the lot to destroy and annihilate the Jews, but his wicked plot recoiled upon his own head. Mordecai was great and popular among the Jews, for he sought their peace.
Thank you, Rabbi Fort. And now we go to chapter 10, our last chapter. First Haley Lane, and then Hannah Wolf. Mordecai the Jew is next in rank to King Ahasuerus, and he was great among the Jews and popular with the multitude of his people. For Mordecai sought the welfare of his people and looked after the well-being of all.
Utsu et savet ufar, Utsu et savet ufar, Utsu et savet ufar, dat davar velo yakum ki Immanuel. Utsu et savet ufar, dat davar velo yakum ki Immanuel. Utsu et savet ufar, dat davar velo yakum. Savet tufar dabru davar velo yakum ki Immanuel. Utsu et savet tufar dabru davar velo yakum ki Immanuel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam harav et riveinu ve'adan et dineinu v'anokem et hikmateinu v'amshalem gemul lechol ovei nafesheinu v'anifar lanu mitzareinu. Baruch atah Adonai הנפרע לעמו ישראל מכל צריהם האל המושיע.
So let's give a big round of applause to all of our children. They did such a beautiful job tonight. Purim is about the continuation of the Jewish people, that we overcome our enemies. And the best way to make sure the Jewish people always be here is getting our young involved. So how nice was it this evening, as we celebrate Purim here at Beth Yeshurun, to have almost 20 of our young people chant from Megillah Esther. The future of our people is in very good hands. And again, I want to wish everybody a Hag Purim Sameach. I hope to see you tomorrow morning as our Greenfield Chapel community continues the celebration of Purim with the reading of Megillah Esther at 6:45 a.m. in our Freeman Levitt Sanctuary. And then if you have a reservation, at 4 o'clock, hundreds of you are signed up for our drive-in Purim Go Texas celebration here at Beth Yeshurun. So if you made a reservation, I can't wait to see you tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock in our parking lot. And with that, I wish everybody a safe evening and a Hag Purim Sameach. Thank you, everyone, and Erev Tov.